Hey guys, welcome to your Flip It lesson. I am Mr. Skelton. Today we're going to talk about the distributive property. So what we do is sometimes you're going to see some questions where you're going to need to distribute multiplication over addition. So I'm going to give you a quick example using two variables. We won't solve it. We're just going to simplify it. So we could write 20 bracket b plus c. So if that was our expression and we just needed to simplify it, or sorry, pardon me, expand it, what we would want to do is we would want to distribute that multiplication. So we would multiply 20 by b and 20 by c. And what we would come out with is 20b plus 20c. And then that would be your simplified answer. So that's just one way to understand that multiplication has been distributed over the addition question. So let's get rid of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go with some that maybe have a few more numbers and only one variable. So I want you guys to look at 7, then in bracket c plus 2. So you see that that would be 1. So what we're going to do is we would distribute this. So we're going to go 7 multiplied by c and 7 times 2. So what we're going to end up with is 7c plus 14. Now you're going to see questions like that where they just want you to expand them, just like we did. So when they ask you to expand using the distributive property, that's what they mean. Now, eventually you might get into some equations that involve the distributive property. So let's just try to solve a couple of those together in this lesson too, so we have an idea of what to do. So let's go 3x plus 5, so 3 bracket and let's just put brackets over the x plus 5 equals 36. So if this was the equation we would do, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to distribute your multiplication. So you're going to multiply 3 times x, which gives you 3x, and you're going to multiply 3 times 5, which will give you positive 15. Now, I might just at the top in a different color write how I distributed the 3 to multiply by the x and the 3 to multiply by the 5. And that's what distribution looks like using the distributive property. So now we have an equation that we're a lot more comfortable with. So now we have 3x plus 15 equals 36. So now the next step to do that is we're going to subtract 15 from each side. Now the reason we do that is because we're going to worry about isolating the variable. So you've done this for a while now, so we're going to go 3x plus 15 minus 15, and what you do to one side you must do to the other. So those 15s on the left-hand side cancel each other out, and we are left with 3x. Now, if we were to look at 36 minus 15, 6 minus 5 is 1, 3 minus 1 is 2, so you're left with 21, pardon me. I'm looking at the top of the equation instead of the bottom. So this makes a lot more sense again, and now what we want to do is we want to get that x all by itself. So the best way to do that is by dividing the 3 from each side. So you're going to divide that 3x. And x is going to equal 7. So then that's just one way to solve using the distributive property. Now, I want to solve this equation again, but this time I don't want to use the distributive property, just so you guys can see what happens. So we're going to go all the way back. And we're going to start again, but this time we're not going to distribute. So the first thing that we're going to do is, because it's in brackets, we can't do very much with the x plus 5. So we're going to divide each side by 3 to get rid of that 3 right off the top. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So now we have x plus 5 is equal to 12 because 36 divided by 3 is 12. So now again, what we can do is we can subtract 5 from each side to get the x by itself. And we're left with those 5s canceling each other out on the left-hand side. So we have x is equal to 7. So both ways do get us to the same answer, which is a very good thing. Now, the one thing I would caution you on with this second method is as the numbers get higher, it can start to get really weird fractions, or you can start to just maybe get confused with bigger division too soon. But the other problem with this method is sometimes we try to divide the x by 3 and the 5 by 3 in brackets, and it just doesn't come as one term. So if this way makes sense to you, that's fine. But probably the easier way is to use the distributive property. So you now have two ways to solve algebraic equations that use the distributive property and also do not use them. And I hope this Flip It lesson has helped you guys, and we'll talk to you again soon.